We're starving, and I like it better than anything else.
Taping this segment, there are 22 million people out of work.
This specific program is about stopping job losses today.
This is hurting people bad.
Other people in our family look for some other flavors, but
right now it's survival mode. You don't know where that next something else is going to come from.
All right, I want to end out the show with this one. I don't know who did this ad, Brad Parscale or whoever. This is one of the most brutal political ads I've ever seen. If you want the full effect of it, the audio matters, but if you want the full effect, it's a devastating takedown of Nancy Pelosi. And just to be clear, she appeared on a late night show. I think it was James Corden. I'm not sure what the guy's name is. And while they're talking about the devastating effects of holding up this money I was talking about earlier for the Paycheck Protection Program, which they're blocking, Pelosi decides it's a good idea to give a tour of her $24,000 freezer and her collection of fancy ice cream, a freezer that costs more than most of our cars. Not joking. She thinks this is a good idea. The Trump team, digital team, ran with this in an absolutely savage, brutal takedown like I've never seen. Check this out.
We turn now to that $350 billion fund to help small businesses and its workers get through the shutdown.
It will be up to Congress to restock it.
But Democrats blocking that move this morning.
they asked for $250 billion in 48 hours. I said, well, I don't think so. They objected, and I congratulate the Senate Democrats.
Speaker Pelosi, what are you going to share with us from your home?
Chocolate candy.
Thousands have been forced to wait for hours at food banks all across the country.
This is
Oh, my.
chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. We just got to restock the ice cream.
You don't want to eat up everything all at one time.
I can't do it much longer. I'm trying so hard.
We were, shall we say, enjoying.
Having to admit that, yeah, we're starving, and
I like it better than anything else.
Taping this segment, there are 22 million people out of work.
This specific program is about stopping job losses today.
This is hurting people bad.
Other people in our family look for some other flavors, but
Right now it's survival mode. You don't know where that next something else is going to come from.
I don't know what I would have done if ice cream were not invented. I just wonder.
I'm just going to let that one stew. Savage. All right, so I saw this story in the Washington Examiner, and I feel the need to translate it for you because that's what we do here, all the news you see fit in an hour. Washington Examiner, let's just get right going with this. There's this fight, friction, conflict brewing between Democrat governors, some Republican governors, and the Trump administration over testing. Washington Examiner, Trump and governors clash over coronavirus testing by Cassidy Morrison. Ladies and gentlemen, what is really going on here? Well, let me give you the background first. A lot of these governors now, Andrew Cuomo and others, you've seen Republican governor of Maryland, where Joe lives, the hapless Larry Hogan these days, who I'm really...
Oh, he's a Republican?
Yeah, in name only. I mean, he's the classic definition. Larry Hogan will say whatever network he's on, he changes his story, by the way, because that's who Larry Hogan really is. But now they've set this new condition, Cuomo and others, that it's the testing that's holding him up. The testing for the coronavirus. To be clear, there are two different types of testing, because here we'll give you the facts, unlike these governors who are just enjoying their media time right now and will say anything to stay on the air. Probably should, I wouldn't be surprised if they start asking you for donations on the air. There are two types of testing. There is the testing for the presence of the coronavirus in your system now. There is also a second type of test, which is an antibody test. That antibody test, meaning you had the coronavirus, you have developed the antibodies, and may have some form of immunity. We don't know how long that lasts. We're not exactly sure yet. You get it? One, if you have it. The second test, if you've had it in the past. The Democrat governors want this test to see if you have it, to engage in contact tracing. As I said to you yesterday, the reason they're pushing for this as a condition to open up their economies is many of them don't want to open up their economies because this is doing significant damage to President Trump, number one. And secondly, there is a brewing current I'm hearing from multiple sources, more than credible, that they're going to keep it closed as long as they want until the federal government comes in and bails them out. Holding the federal government essentially hostage right now, which is odd because the federal government is us. So we're holding us hostage for money from us that us don't have because we don't have it in the States and don't have it when we live in the States and we give it to the federal government. Kind of an odd condition, no?
Yeah.
Please tell me you're tracking me here. So they're setting up a system, you getting this, of insurmountable obstacles they know President Trump will not be able to meet. You're not going to be able to contact, trace, and test every single person that lives in New York or DeSantis isn't saying this in Florida, but in California, Maryland, and elsewhere. Now, to cite Anthony Fauci, who brought up an interesting point on I'm not going to say the fallacy of testing. Testing works, and you will find out, generally speaking, there's always a certain degree of false positives and false negatives, of course. You will find out if you have the virus. But Dr. Fauci brought up something interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a different kind of virus. It is a respiratory virus. It is not the human immunodeficiency virus. It's not HIV. It's not a virus. It's not a pathogen like, say, with the bug that causes tuberculosis. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, as Dr. Fauci said this weekend, I was listening to him, and he wasn't saying testing is irrelevant, but the governor is setting a mark. We got to test and contact trace everyone before we open up the economy. They're not doing that because they believe that's going to work. Are you following what I'm saying? They're doing that because they want to set an insurmountable obstacle, knowing Trump can't meet it, as an excuse to keep their economy shut, to leverage more money from Trump, from the federal government, to bail out their profligate spending. There it is in a nutshell right there.